西西北天北王波江北洋，刚健天北诸天中可波罗夏拉娑đề弥呗揭为对先见北王波江北洋，刚健天北诸天中可波罗萨北夏弥呗揭为对先人西极美天北王波江北常见天诸天中可天北王波江北洋，天北中可波罗千瑞西极北王北洋，刚健天北诸天中可波罗萨王波江北诸天中可波北西波江北洋，诸可波萨夏拉以美切为内前见西极北天北王波江北洋，刚天北诸 สัจเวชาลาโสวะเตมิเมเสเวเตเชียนเจนเลยสิจิเมเคนเบวังปอจังเบ康健健诸天中可巴罗萨大悲下拉索瓦德接สัพพะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมสัพพะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธเวชาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตรปุริสธรรมสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสานังพุทโธภคะวะติสวากขาโตภคะวะตาธัมโมสันติติโกอากาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปนายโกปัจจตังเวทิตามโพวิโยหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุชุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาติทังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอาตาปุริสปุกลาเอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญเกตังโลกาสาติอาเสวนาจะภารานังปันดิตานันจะเสวนาปุชาจะปุชนิยานังเอตัมมังคารโม ตมังปฏิโรปเทสวาโสจะปุเพจักตาปุญญาตาอัตตสัมมาปณิทิจเอตัมมังคารโมตมังพาหุสัจจันจะเสปัญจวินัยโยจะสุสิกิโตสุปาสิตาจะยาวาจาเอตัมมังคารโมตมังมาตาปิตุปาทานังปุตตธาราสสังอนาคุลาจักามันตาเอตัมมังคารโมตมันติ
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
受想行识亦复如是，舍利子是诸法空相不生不灭，不垢不净，不增不减，是故空中无色无色相，行识无眼耳鼻舌身意无色身，相为诸法无眼界，乃至无意识界，无明亦无明尽，乃至无老死亦无老死，无苦集灭道，无智亦无得，亦无所得，菩提萨埵依般若波罗蜜多故，心无挂无挂故，无有恐怖，远离颠倒梦想，究竟涅槃，三世诸佛依般若波罗蜜多故得阿多罗三藐三菩提，故知般若波罗蜜多是大神咒，是大明咒，是无上咒，是无等等咒，能除一切苦，真实不虚。故说般若波罗蜜多咒，即说咒曰：揭谛揭谛，般若揭谛，般若僧揭谛，菩提萨埵。 心菩萨道。
马上就没写了，怕是马爷们把那个说让人一起去嘛，对对，用了啥子？对啊，他嘎的巴拉桑嘎的不的少。对啊，他嘎的巴拉桑嘎的不的少。对啊，他嘎的巴拉桑嘎的不的少。年对学我做了归心你也是真正可以当着了潘巴生了老心你也就能等住刚才养到那边头脑那么滚的那种的son不年对学就什么上节给你用的了茶山喽刚给等现这往中搞不没不吃不没不当没不玩没不装没不他在对面的这不你是现在我做个上节嘛能接当不得了茶山喽강교수님께서 네, 나와서 저 법에 저러 때문에 신는 저 과담자가 차차로
No permanence, no coming, no
다 가서
going.
이렇게 좋아하시니?
Identity and peaceful, free from fabrications.
특허를 주시지 못했는데 또 뭐,
As I said yesterday,
상계
also,
논의동 중계 권리야 다 중대봐. 다 공기, 남주기, 다 지단체나, 뭐냐 전에가 남주기, 다 별도 중앙시 차대요래. 애는 공기 전장, 엔 다 미iten제, 애는 루루yap세다, 통미구지, 애는 초랑쳐라. 사오다 되는 마치 준비하기. 뭐냐 전에가 그게 귤이야, 로스송이 냠식이 타네. 뭐냐 그 또와베 통보여 되와. 다다. 애니 디디 애니 롱르 때네 냐라 상 범체니. 다 중앙인도 자네. 그 되는 손을 배 잡고 표도 침봐. 너는 기름인데 되는지 아다 가다 사제 그때 봐. 미루는 다 도스 균진 나지 중앙인 바래. 엔데네 림베기 캐나다 타르 엔데 시리랑가도 타일랜드 디들 직타르 되네니 캐나나레 엔 타르 다음에 집에도 소보다 디디 유르 디디 타르체 애니 캐나나 마찬가지 코리아 베트남 재팬 전다 가다 에시아에다 더 유럽 패무체 가다 산지 좀 된대게 다 숨고 틀리게 잡대바지 러시아 나 뒤다다 이내야 산지 이체 애니 사고도 옆에 날린데 다 주유 애니 롱수菩萨 신이 그냥도 되잖아기 다 주윤증의 천배 다 간다 지금 렉자기 쇼리야 그게 다 특수 공수층의 뒤에되기 병급하고 루루스도 상에 지 상에 지대하시리 아니 개별 공부 뒤에 근저지 여되면서 관저 수능으로 되나 시행하시려도가 전에도 산지심된 내게니 토마이니 고마저 상계에 제리야 있는 콜로탕 보송 대신에 자서 주로 가서 쉬어야 되지. 그래서 다 되네 이네 좀 전에 얘기했다 뒤져 콜로탕 보송세 뒤져도 되니 지금 싸움동야 거로 숙소가 되는 이유인데 아니 고된 람딘 세트도 되게 그래 이나스 지금 재시 중에 숙소로 담도 돼야지. 대수토를 몇 숙소모 여버지다. 뒤치도 스밍도 전에 내가 산지 좀 내기 콜로 파바. 아니 시직 적어서 다들 손인 말이. 내 자꾸 부르라. 또 시직도 손. 다 시직 중 대도 먹고 싶지 버리. 제니 다한테 대캬는 유명한 접대야지. 아니 가서 독sun 용어 세워셔스. 가. 어제는 왜 유모세야 면은 직격이야래. 유모세야디 면은 접어주고 저기에나 아니 싫어 나온 바로 쇼사리 과학이야 말해. 간다 유모디 가서 스스로들이 머리가 사야지 치료도 또 록시 차이인데 디세야디 디 록시 그게 싫어지지. 디 진단계다 로지. 싫어 그 남주 싫어시야 깨니. 디 진단계가는 내야지. 이거 유전에 아니 싫어고 나 봐쇼스. 봐. 아니 다 들으시나는 게 매용하다. 다 들으니 전남집에 인루 지신시에 싫어고 나 지금 현대 자체부 좋대야. 이거야 말해. 다른 야나 바보 중이네. 돈이 무슨 또 돼요, 그래? 간다 파고 있는 돈이 무슨 또 켜버려. 그래서 현대 자체부야 생애디 청주절은 좀 쉬어서 다 되고요, 그래. 자들이 인도 안 되잖아 좀 너무 자야지. 뒤좀 살아셔. 다들 싫어 나와 바로 쉬어서 러대하기. 아니 싫어고 나와요 하생애디 당아주 남주 따고 된대하기 싫으니고 다디 닝진님구사로 이렇게 누가 배나 산지기 투기연대 시에르산에 나바 탐제 캠바 센스도가 캠페로 시에도是吧 상부로디 쉬우지 계정으로 되고 간다 연대 조셔서 나바 탐제 캠바 세하게 탐제 캠바 조 시를 들어도 그러고 저들이 이르잖아요. 나 왜냐 안 나가서 문제다. 된다. 싫어님부 쓰네. 다 싫어리야. 싫어 먹고 예배 나네. 다 안되디. 아니 다 돈이도 왜 싫어. 지도 도배다 싫어. 지대에 내루 싫어다. 인루 시시시다. 싫어고 로트 차대요. 저다가 다 뒤져져라. 제겐이 흉들이 아니 시진 생명 토리. 봐. 다 되게 있는데 아다가서 싫으니 못던데 하기 아니 고대 아니 하고 제네시 가서 등야를 사실 좀 된데 아니 소문 나와서 집에 등인절은 염불 쇼네. 뒤 자가 가지고 돼. 되면 돼. 안돼. 가. 가. 가자. 전에 부모가 못 들어라요. 러시아 동안은 뭐 양다고 싶다고 했잖아요. 다 가서를 해야 돼. 강사 강도 답에 시대 아니 부모한테 자유도와 재산가 남 강사 수준의 부모루이도 차요 거네. 나서도 러시아도 와. 봐. 자들이 인도전에 역시 풍부디 아니 거다냐라 나도 로로 나오는 시지 야마리스 풍부가 다들 러시아로 만나 거 다오스 다들네 수동보 동보니 수수 수를 동보니 샤마이 동보니를 저 수신 많이 넣었잖아 동이 시골세 동이 시골 와다 되게 다 풍부나네 수기 풍부들이라고 알지로 당해서 아테르즈보로 숙성을 해야 하시도가 사진이 인도 속대 나와도 주요 말에 나와도 주변 동버리 있어. 또 동버서야 돼. 가게 매딩에 지기 시고 말에. 그러다 그 나와도 무슨 컨디션는 게 나와도 주요 말에 써야 건 컨디션는 거스로는 팔면에 여도시 올는 것도 봐. 취진은 뭐냐 주도시 올는 것도 봐. 제가 그거 나와도 주요나 수 풍부도 다들 입도 카도도 차시 소소 파 세세 파 세르 좀 세리나 그 세르도 로고 가서 해야 돼. 저들이 인도산에 딱 보면 누가 당상 관람 피스선에 나라시고 소식이 저들이 차시 파 뒤처럼 파 세윤도 켜네. 또 누구서 내가 차이잖아요. 치든 나와도 주요 말세 그 딱다리도 와. 사실 인도에서 수동 보스. 자자가 동반이 수소스. 수디 애니 나와도 주매와 그 연이야래 진짜 인도 그 여단데 애니 민성 다좀 세하게 때내 딱 그 퀄리티잖아요. 애니 뭐니 뭐로 인상 그 때내 다 적어도 와. 봐. 뭐지 주요는 때내 다 가면도 부터 나라야. 아니 뭐니 좀나 디니 샤고에 초고에서 때내 다 지샤사디 쉬우세버셔 숙성모. 사들이 인도자는 그 팬들이 다 민성 다성 다성치 차대도 얘는 그 때는 주가 인도 그 주진을 때버디 태그로 봐. 때는 주가시면은 주진의 뜻인 말와. 주진 편수 뜻고 용식 말와. 자들이 인도자네 동반이 수소스 수모니 주변 동데 얘는 수모 주야 돼. 그 견시了 라래봐. 견시了 对位 견시了 对呢 수스치는 것도 편견적이 되지다. 여버디 차용인데 그다음에 수동보 동반이 수소스 다음에 뒤니부터 아니 뭐 다들베 그들에서는 뭐 찍으셨어. 수준이디 최신 수준이 차대도 수코레 예로래 근데 인도 그다 뭐 찍으셨어. 대니 뭐 찍어야 되시려래. 와 너가 다돼. 그다음에 마다 맞으면 안에 자샤지 수준 뭐 찍 디모 이루 컨디도 봐봐 딱저 집에 있나 야 니야지 수준 뭐 찍 그다 도선이 수동모 동원이 수리 동원이 시험이 동원이 수신 뭐 있노스 다 수리야 돈이 시고도 송사를 제라 대신도 소화라서 왔어 맞아요도 와 저런 아주 뉴시로 이부터 해야 돼 시우진 뉴시 버리샤 계속 쉬우지래샤
如同昨天所说的，具有善巧方便，也具有极大智慧以及大悲心的导师释迦牟尼佛，出生在2600年前。
So about 2,600 years ago, the Buddha appeared in the world, this compassionate and skillful Buddha who was somebody who was fully intelligent and wise being. And after the Buddha came the Indian masters, such as His Holiness was asking the Chinese if the fan is too strong or not. So they said it's okay, I think. And so, following the Buddha's teaching, the masters like Nagarjuna and his disciples and followers, as well as Asanga and his disciples and followers, such as those of the Diknaga and Dharmakirti, the beings who were highly realized also appeared in India. And following their teaching, through the process of hearing, reflection, and meditation, they practiced the teaching thoroughly and then passed on the tradition, the teachings to the future generations. And therefore, throughout these, after following them, generations of scholars and meditators also kept up with the teaching of the Buddha, and then the teaching of the Buddha from India spread to China, and from there to other countries like Korea, Vietnam, Japan, and so forth, and also it spread to the countries like Thailand and so forth, and then also Tibet. And so even today, those beings or the people who follow the Sanskrit tradition, to them the name of Nagarjuna is well known, and the greatness of these beings like Nagarjuna and so forth could be inferred through their own writings, and And so having said that, now to go back to the Buddha first turned the wheel of the Dharma on the Four Noble Truths and its 16 attributes, as we talked about yesterday, and then those who after listening to this, the teaching on the Four Noble Truths and 16 characteristics, then the beings or the disciples who became more curious about and interested in learning more about the true cessation and true path, to them the Buddha gave the teaching on the Vulture Peak, the teaching called the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras. And so the prayer that the Chinese disciples these days say, which says that may the three poisons be dispelled, three poisons of afflictions be dispelled, has to do with the development of wisdom. And so if prayer alone is sufficient, we do not need to say the second line in your prayer, which says, may the light of wisdom be ablaze. And therefore, there's need to know what is ignorance and its opposing factor, and so that the ignorance is countered and overcome through that wisdom. And therefore, you say this prayer where, in order to overcome the obstacles, you say, may all obstacles be averted. And so, in order for the wisdom to be greatly beneficial for oneself and others, what one need is the kind heart or compassionate attitude, which in your prayer says, may we engage in the bodhisattva practices. And so, though kindness or kind-heartedness is very essential in our practice, but without the help of our wisdom, it may not be effective as to overcome the defilements completely. And therefore, when we come to talk about the Buddhas, we talk about the Buddhas refer to the Buddhas being omniscient, and so knowing everything comes through wisdom, and therefore wisdom is very essential in our practice that is combined with the altruistic attitude. And so with regard to wisdom, the text of the Perfection of Wisdom is there, which teaches that of the perfection of wisdom, the wisdom realizing emptiness. And then His Holiness was mentioning that in the Heart Sutra we find mention of even the five the aggregates are. I mean the introductory part where it says the practitioners should see even the five aggregates as being empty. And so, but then in the introductory part of the Heart Sutra seems to be absent from the Chinese Heart Sutra translation. And in any case, the Heart Sutra says the five aggregates are also empty of intrinsic nature, and then it goes on through the fourfold emptiness, which says form is empty, emptiness is form, form is emptiness is not other than form, and form too is not other than emptiness. And so, because when here the Buddha was using the form as the subject for establishing that of emptiness, and then this is because when we think about the form or body, and it feels like as if there is some kind of a solidity of the body, or which is inherently existent, and therefore the Buddha uses this subject, or the form or body, to establish emptiness. So. So if the form were to exist as it appears, then it should become more and more clear as we search for its identity more and more. But that's not the case. As the quantum physicists also say, that there is nothing objectively existing. So it applies to form as well. And so because things do not have any objective existence, therefore existence through dependence is feasible, and therefore the Heart Sutra says, the form emptiness is form as well. And the Buddha Palita also, in his commentary, Buddha Palita commentary says, if things were to have any intrinsic existence, what is the need for dependent origination? And therefore, the Heart Sutra says form emptiness is form as well. And then after that, there is this two phrase which says emptiness is not other than form, and form two is not other than emptiness, which shows that the two, the emptiness and the form and its emptiness are of the same nature. And so following the form, then the Buddha goes on through the other objects such as feelings or sensations, perceptions, mental formations and consciousness to establish emptiness.
所以色法并非如同我们看到般的存在，这个时候我们就可以搭配着量子物理所说的论述了。因为在宏观世界当中，我们看任何的物理，它都是有它的定律的。可是你到微观世界的时候呢，你看什么东西，任何的这种物理它是没有定律的，粒子它是没有定律的。所以同样的道理，看法和存在的方式是不同的。所以色即是空，色并非如同我们所看到的般的真实的存在，色即是空。那因为色是自性空的缘故，色并非是以自己的力量呈现了自己的作用和性质。那色的性质又不是没有，色的性质仍然是存在的。那这种存在是怎么存在的呢？只能选择抽象存在，或者是明示施舍而有精此。如果色有自性的话，何须观待而已？如同《佛部论》里面所说的“自性若已成，安置彼时性，复何须依赖？”如果自性已经成立的话，以自己的力量形成了自己的作用和性质的话，其作用和性质何须观待呢？因为是以自力而形成的，就不需要观待他力。正是因为无自性，没有任何的性质作用，是以自己的力量产生，所以更需要去观待他者。因为依赖他者、观待他者的缘故，正因为空才有了色。
The introductory part that I was referring to in the introduction of the Heart Sutra, it says the Avalokiteshvara also saw the the five aggregates are empty of intrinsic existence. And so that part seems to be missing absent in the Chinese translation, which comes in the introductory part of the Heart Sutra.
于是又说到了色不异空，空不异色的这一个空相四，在无寻无找当中，色和色的存在的究竟性的空，这两者的繁体是异。那有寻有找的时候呢，其实色上面的这个空性就是色存在的一个究竟性。就以这个角度来讲的话，色和其空它自己的这个空性而言，它们的体性是为一的。所以由此道理来去推类，受想行识亦复如是。
找一下。现在大的，苏东北你苏生的，现在的，但东北团的，公布路主去，谁不休息？哎呢，早上哪里啊？电信这块就没看，天天东北你都写。天天带着他我的，今年我们那边都是，送的话，东北下的，看样没有个什么大事，就在呢，你就没得这个，人看样没多少，对嘛的意思，但是这个就我看是，天天东北你都写，带呢就这样，个带呢就不印度，带不但没对吧？给我那蛮给的。样呢，马对不应过去，样呢对不应过去，今年嘛都什么多啊？说今年印度上呢，可这印度上呢，可马对不让我学呢，可三多过了，根本多啊。这今年印度呢，可对呢，主要的社会学多啊，加上个担心这块。中华港，天天东北一都写的是， 동부세도 매백해서 말이지. 댄진저버 중앙에서. 댄진저버 중앙에서 전에 댄슬러도 그 축투부 매등에 현실로 되고야. 현실로 라려고야. 저버 중앙에서도 대단 제니 편년 재정이지. 댄진저버 중앙에서. 너는 댄중 세하기 말아서 근데 때려도 저변에 요래 댄시 춘이 민도라 중심 지된 취향도 직수글에 개보신 댄지들 좀 설명할까 댄중 세하기 어다가도 동배 되는데 댄중 같은 달에 댄중 인상 공원이 주요 말이지 근데 딱히 제주 그게 나왔다도 좀 매져가지고 통연도 동바치 동배 되는데 그 현실을 라려고 거네 주어만도 그 라마려고 주어지기 동인도 전에 아니 동바 댄중도 전에 샤인도 전에 그 메타세도도 댄에 샤되기 땅도세 중 샤되기 차다세 타니 직접도 세트야지 거기도 투문 버리셔 그래서 퍼진 나네 줄어져 도지스메 댄시 아니 뭐로 저 직접 주기 댄시 아니 저불로 저 예매긴 거 댄시 되네 근데 뭐 삼자로 봐 상물로 켰댕에디 아니 리베 개부 댄지 댄시 사대 다 줄어져 도지스메 댄시기 달에 개버리 샤네 개버 파워 짜인데 그 경험해 봤지 그 예배 처리 그 시도도 가 저다 디디 dom디 댄주레스다 매바 말이 야래 여다디 샤라 라레베 거니 중어리 진짜 이런 거 하나로 나오는 신기 되지 뭐네 때문에 상황 그 주어디 야 말이지 셰고도 쇼저샤 다디 내가디 양 자오셔 나리야 다 자오셔 토마잡지 이스트루디 대외이나 머리 집에 양시 칠신 머리가 왕게 아니 세바 도 센터 머리가 왕가 간다 아니 도시 남시 민수로서 디드마 요야 디드마스 다디 고 가서 쉬어야게 된대야라 주니 송샤 다디기도 스마 요야 송 저진시도 보지 그래서 다디게 머리가 떠야 돼 아니 랍지 접게 나라 걔들 풍부 다 있네 얘는 저도 쉬어서게 아니 다음에 봐디 직접 아니 다음에 통나 아니 머리부터 그래스 신이 디직송 다한테는 도주 숙치셔디 랍시 니슈 저시버지 다디 이미지 나오래 랍시 저시버지 어디 지나리야 아니 타녀도 장생 되겐기 아니 좀더 마어즈 타녀도 장생 미시베 떠도디 차다르샤스 봐 아니 처탐제 아니 원이 주베 처랑랑 뭐 아니 뭐 주지 예외나 다시 심이 창도도 왔어 전에 아니 시달로도 드비나서 샤토 말에 전 소저야들 고물 주고 봐 랜견이 동반이 그 거봐 그다 돈이 그다에 거봐 아니 돈이 그뭐 돈이 그 텐션 텐션 수부터네 랭겨요도 그래서 진짜 싫어요 전에 이노 동경연도 땡진저만 좀 되는 동반이도 되는 때는 동반이 tinha 오면라는 그래서 띵중만이 초과해 보면 이제 동반만이 초과해 보면 노세네 어다 당주 뒤견도 와 저다 뒤콩 돌아라야 아니 그것이 깨네 개버 대마지 깨 가서 더 개버시 예마이 어디서 소나데 깨는 자래 칸도 동반시 세네 또 송샤 너무 근한 대용도 와 아니 가다 용기지도 저럴 마도 스테베이나 최전 시 공공 지시들 람기 서주 람가들 제비 독서가 연대디마 송제 리송비 쇼데 대참제자 민정 다섬 전에 지송이 구도가 어다 디 고디 아니 민거 왕기여 봐. 그래서 떡we 왕기여 봐. 간다 떡we 왕기여 되게 다 디가라 보연도 그 실내가 싶어지셔. 다 디니 묘몽이 냐고 같이 시고스라고 이나 아리안데 루루고 손나래 야라라 아리안데 아니 야 르르르와 지신도 띵무고를 내주듯이 르르완데 아니 미국원불에서 원무권을 켜여했어. 미국원불에 나의 원무를 켜여 말이 원무 소소소리 르지 원무도 원무권을 켜여했어. 대신도 아니 띵무 대인이 묘모 탐자를 켜여했어. 단 묘모 탐자를 켜다는데 단 금들이 타녀들 랑자 미시베 아니 더두고서는 마도 수용도 묘모래 묘모 차라니샤 그다 민남적인 묘모스들도 묘모 소소소 지그게 진다로 매라마다 유튜브 직체 디디 하다 쉽게 제베나 사샤요리 디무를 때는 중에 묘모지 디무도 탐매대로 와야게 묘모지 디무도 탐매대로 와야게 묘모인데 묘모신도 차하리 그다 간다 있니 지금 대사 그 이동원이야 디 이동 나온다게 제 뭐를 줘 랑가 천이 줘 되는지로 나가 요 나온다도 랑가 천이 줘 현배团에 잡게 되는 지기 죄송 근데 인도 차단래 차 쏘는 것도가 어디지 자 근데 인도 다 르르르와 지신도 띠무고를 내주듯이 대신에 뭐 다르지 띠무 좀 접어줬어 어느 띠무 좀이야 돼 가리 정보를 넣어 이나 떼지대로 중앙강 통로 띠무 중민이었어 대신 매번 끊긴들 땅도 통을 내버려서 쉽게 지금다 빼냐 같이 못 와. 야 다가지 쉽게 나는 뒤송샤 산지 기술 고교수 강시 특성 경유 대에 동반이 땐데 니니 권을 이지자스 산지 기술이야 지금 모두 주야 그시 아니 렌더 차치타 납사도 제디 걸벨데 지금 다 외출 가서 이마치아서로 연두자네 산지 기술 고교수 신고를 지금 제디 태수미 여den에 되라 동문이 계신 땡중 그 담게 못자윤들 엔 대응이 배 지금 군생 그 상담이 직선을 배 내버려야 되는 지금 데이터네 아니 뭐라도 로페바디기 아니 유기 뭐는 저것은 난게 여러 나왔다도 신 대왕의 취미 지금 남도기 대왕의 차상지에서 드르르 만드셔도 되는데 내는 그 다와셔야 돼 생일부터에 가다들 세우시 셔요 지부셔요 그 변화도 생일부 볼라지 아무래도 생일부 볼라지 거기 로망그리야 아니 미 콩두산에 심지어 추den에서라 그게 럽저 접체 진짜가 로칭이 싫으셔 아론백 지금 콩기 아니 나한테도 쓰도 콩기는 로망고도 지금 추den에서라 봐 디셔를 지금 로칭이 지금 또 심시할 지금 디시도 아니 심 추den에서 심 추세 시장께서 유대 믿고 싶은 통과를 했어 이내 뭐였는지를 대저 구주 탐바 심 콩루상에 코란 게 남도 그 쬐샤스 뭐였는지 제메도 센사다디 심미지가 남도抓다서 따다서 그래서 어디를 인도 대로서베다 간다 또 내리 주야 땡중기 그다 간다 묘모는 누구여다 진짜가 전에 내리 주야지 다디 리베도스파 주트야 셔베 인도 아니 남진나라 톱차 조 내리 패바 원도 디니나네 조 내리 튼 아니 내리 주비츠 덤베 롱라 배 이지니 투야지 차용도 아니 조요톤 멜리치 패바 원도 주야가 털로 송시바 디들 아니 다디 로베바자 데디 인지 로베 인그레 삼네 이실이야 용그레스 조요톤 멜리치 샹르쳐서 보고 있었대 그래도 아들 시주 송대 그냥 따당 저직도.
因此，色即是空，空即是色。这一种空性的内意，被龙树菩萨非常明确的阐述。
So with regard to the phrase in Heart Sutra form is emptiness, and emptiness is form, which regarding emptiness, Master Nagarjuna explains it very clearly when he says in his Mula Madhyamaka Karika, that the wisdom verse, fundamental wisdom verses of the Middle Way, where he says what is dependently arisen or originated, that is said to be empty, and that is the dependent designation, and that is the middle way. And so emptiness is when we say things are empty of it doesn't mean that we don't mean that things are not, there's nothing. It doesn't mean nothingness. So emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Since things are dependently originated, therefore they lack any independent existence, and therefore they don't exist in and of themselves apart from being dependent. If things were not dependent, then the things exist and have some kind of essential existence of their own, then it should become clearer and clearer the more we delve into the nature of things. But that does not happen, and therefore what this shows is that dependent origination, that things, because things are dependently originated, there's nothing that exists as if they have some kind of solidity in them. And things are originated from by dependence on other factors. And therefore, Master, there is a commentary on the praise to the Buddha for teaching dependent origination, which was written by, the commentary written by Dalai Lama Rinpoche, where he mentions that by dependence, what is not discarded is that of emptiness, or the reality of things as it is. And by origination or arisal, what it shows is that the Buddha does not discard that of the conventional, worldly conventions. And therefore, when we say things are dependent or originated, that we have to understand that what is that meant by emptiness is dependent origination, and that things lack any independent existence. And so by understanding emptiness in the sense of dependent origination, then what one is able to do is do away with that of the extreme of nihilism. And when you understand emptiness in the sense of the dependence in meaning emptiness, then that does away with that of the extreme of permanence. And so with regard to emptiness, establishing emptiness, or there are different reasonings that are used, such as the reasoning of diamond splinters for establishing emptiness from the point of view of the cause, and then the reasoning of one, lack of one and many, looking at emptiness from the point of view of its nature, and then that of the refutation of arisal from things existent or non-existent, to establish the emptiness from the point of view of the results. And then on the reasoning of dependent origination is the reasoning which is called the king of reasonings, and because it actually looks at the emptiness from the point of view of all three, the cause, the nature, and that of the result. And so what we have to understand is when we say things are empty, or so when the Heart Sutra says emptiness is form, so that sneezing is to wake you up if you fall asleep. And so emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. and that things are exist by way of dependence on other factors. And so with regard to understanding the emptiness well, we need to, it's important to go study that of Master Nagarjuna's Madhyamaka Karika. First, we need to study in order to understand how we are brought up into this samsara, the cycle of existence. We need to study chapter 26, which goes through the 12 links of dependent origination, beginning with that of ignorance. So it says, because of being obscured by ignorance, therefore we come into this kind of the samsaric existence. And then it goes through the rest of the links of dependent origination, such as karma, name and form, and so forth, up to that of aging and death. And so in order to reverse that process or to overcome the samsaric existence, what we need to do is to overcome that of ignorance first. By overcoming ignorance, then you are able to overcome the rest of the links of the 12 links of dependent originations, such as karma, consciousness, and so forth. And therefore, to avert this or overcome the ignorance, we need to study. In order to learn about overcoming this the ignorance, we need to study the 18th chapter. And so 18th chapter deals with or teaches that of selflessness. And therefore, it says, when you see selflessness, the ignorance will be dispelled or overcome. And the most important chapter in the Madhyamaka Karika is that of chapter 24. In chapter 24, what Master Nagarjuna deals with is the objections from the Buddhist realists who say that if things were to lack any essential existence in and of themselves, then the existence itself cannot be talked about. There cannot be causes and conditions bringing about results and so forth. And then Master Nagarjuna replies to them, and then he says in his reply, the realists have not understood the nature or the essence of the dependent origination and emptiness. They have not understood the meaning of emptiness, and they have not understood that of the purpose of teaching of emptiness as well. And so he makes the things clear that things without any thing having any essential independent existence, still we can't explain the causality and so forth. And then in chapter 24 he summarizes his position by saying what is dependent originated is said to be empty, and that is said to be dependently designated, and that is the middle way. And since there is nothing that is not dependently originated, therefore there is nothing that is not empty. And so this is also the teaching that we find in the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras as well. Because in Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, the Buddha goes through the different objects, such as those that form up to omniscience. And then, having dealt with them, each of these objects, using them as the subject to establish emptiness, then at the end of each section, the Heart Sutra and the Perfection of Wisdom teachings say, all of these are merely nominal and merely in mere name and concepts. And so what this shows is that things exist by way of, or by the force of names or labels and conceptions. ignorance, and apart from that, nothing else. And then with regard to overcoming our ignorance, with regard to ignorance, how it brings about the rest of the mental afflictions and so forth, we find it very clearly mentioned in Master Aryadeva's 400 verses, where he says, just as the physical faculty permeates all other all other faculties, likewise, sensory faculties, likewise, their ignorance or confusion also abides in all permeates all mental afflictions. And then he says the one who has overcome this then Master Aryadeva says that called just as the physical what this means is that the other sensory faculties such as eye, the visual faculty, or the visual sense faculty and the ear sense faculty and so forth do not permeate one another, and but that of the physical faculty permeates all other faculties such as visual faculty and so forth. And then with regards to the how the ignorance permeates all other the mental afflictions, in the 400 verses, it also mentions that the commentary on 400 verses by Master Chandrakirti, it mentions that there are those of the mental afflictions which are concomitant with the ignorance, and there are those who which arise as a result of the ignorance. And so when you believe or assert that things have some objective independent existence, accordingly you produce or some ignorance based on that, and then there is the rest of the afflictions also arising. And in order to overcome ignorance itself, Master Aryadeva in his 400 verses says, by seeing dependent origination, no ignorance will arise in you. And with all endeavor, one should first give teachings on dependent origination. And so what this shows is that with regard to the very hidden phenomena that are very obscure to us, that we don't have access to with our own sense faculties to realize regarding the teaching of the Buddha. And for those who have doubt about these kind of phenomena, then they should be led through the teaching of the Buddha, through teaching on emptiness. And so usually when I explain these, I say that I tell people that when we have, because of ignorance, that fundamental ignorance, which actually is a distorted view, because of this, the exaggerated outlook on things, such as called absolutely beautiful or ugly and so forth, also arise in us. And accordingly, the attachment, anger, hatred, and so forth also arise. And so with regard to this exaggerated outlook on things that I usually I usually refer to a scientist also, explaining or describing the same kind of process happening in people. One of the American scientists that I know is Aaron Beck, and he is somebody who has been helping people with psychiatric problems, and especially to do with anger. And so when he once told me that when people become angry, they see the person or things that they're angry at as being absolutely negative, but then the 90% of that negativeness is their own mental projection. And so that exactly tallies with what Master Nagarjuna Jonah is saying that things are exaggerated. We have exaggerated outlook on things. And so, as we all have the experience that when we are angry at somebody, we are totally mad, and we say all kinds of things to the person. Whereas, once the anger has subsided and we come to our, our own ordinary nature, then we feel that, oh, what we have done is wrong. And so this is what happens with anger. And so where you see the object absolutely negative. And, therefore, it is very clear that with our own mental attitudes, mental conceptions, we actually exaggerate things. So Master Dharmakirti also says that when we understand the main thrust of the teaching of the Buddha, the rest of the teachings can be inferred.
Just as Your Holiness has advised us to associate ourselves with the concept of emptiness and bodhicitta, we try to do that, but due to time limitations, it becomes quite difficult in our way of life. So how would you advise us on? Would you advise you in this respect? The Buddha being very compassionate, will try to explain difficult concept in the easiest possible way. But that doesn't mean that concept is easy. So we need more effort. So in the beginning, particular concept might seem very difficult, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't become easier on developing familiarity and by constantly habituating yourself with the concepts and the reasons. So you will reach a stage through constant habituation and practice. You will reach a stage when you can really speak with confidence or think with confidence that probably now this must be the case. So you can develop some kind of conviction. We have received empowerments and initiations from His Holiness, Your Holiness. So we try to keep up with the commitments, but sometimes we doze off, and due to our busy life schedule, we somehow forget to do them in a day or so. So can we make up for those by doing them again in the next days?
And is there any way to confess the downfalls accrued from not doing commitments properly?
그저 두두 마샤고 시투나 그봐 아니 틀으려면은 저게 아니 수구대 아니 라마랑 라마팀 아니 동상체 아니 동백안에 도지스베 굴려 기기도 도창 기기도 그래서 어디 뒤뒤니 사배사 다른 상황들에서 대자고 서로 풀베서 던지는 소리 그냥 그도 되니 야 계약 계니 대바도도 장샤네 더 도선주지.
So for those who have a very busy schedule in a day and feel difficult to do the commitments properly, you can somehow try to find a time to do the 6-session Guru Yoga, which compromises of all the commitments pertaining to Tantra and Bodhisattva practice. So at the end of ritual of the 6-session Guru Yoga, there's a phase where you dissolve where you dissolve the Lama into you, and then becoming indivisible, you arise in the state. You dissolve into the state of emptiness, and then from the state of emptiness, you arise into Vajradhara. So at that time, while you arise into Vajradhara, you can also arise into a particular deity of your practice, such as Guha Samaj, Vajrabhairava, or Yamantaka, or so forth, and then do the particular recitation of mantra of that specific deity. So that might somehow make up for the commitments. That might suffice for the commitments. Your Holiness, you have stated the view of emptiness as supporting practice for the practice of bodhicitta. I didn't follow the question properly.
I think this is the 시럽이 청주를 믹. 아니 인지 심장을 믹스 속도가. 다 지저스 뭐 오늘 너무이나. 냐라. 아니 동리기 따에 타바스네지. 용야 여대봐. 델레페 네바토시. 다 진리기 아니 청주 퇴니기 로티토네 아니 난게 테리베 심자 선제지 청주 퇴대불로 그 사바지 지금 오늘 너무이나 동리기 따에 아니 청주 웅마천이 아니 청주 퇴니들로 용기야래 지금 오늘 뛰어이나 동리 따와 용 아니 이지미지 자주 웃음 교리 깨벌로 동리 따와 고기야 말에 지라마 집에 청주 사바야래.
So the question probably was with respect to those who are unable to grasp the view of emptiness. So how do you then carry on with your practice of compassion and bodhicitta when the view of emptiness is so difficult for you? So that must be the question, and His Holiness responds. Basically, when I speak of the view of when we speak of wisdom, during my teaching, I've said when we say wisdom is directed towards enlightenment. So wisdom focuses on enlightenment, whereas compassion focuses on sentient beings. So when we focus on the practice of compassion, basically it's very good if it's complemented by wisdom. However, it's only for the intelligent beings who are able to do this practice of complementing your practice of bodhicitta by wisdom of emptiness. For those who are not that intelligent, it's not necessary that you have to have the view of emptiness in order to practice bodhicitta. We have bodhisattvas who are who are in the lower school of thoughts or lower tenets who still practice bodhicitta.
当然，东尼，我呢觉得，原来一句这个夸的，还是那我们应该还是用途的，特别是上级技术高就去，可是特种研究啊是，特种研究没得，是可是我这个上级个中国人是这个一起搞嘛不大，这就是印度，这那我们应该。 这个他得住的，这里啥什么东西，那观众非常啥什么东西，就是在蒙古籍，你顶中是的高下程度啊，是吧？在这里印度，但是呢，东尼个呢，娘娘呀，他推崇个些了，咱们都还是用过的，那我们那个用过的，生中也全部用没着。 但生中搞了呀，菜头里头结巴的，是吧？生中学了呀，搞了菜头里头结巴吃个，但的排气样，这个说那么操个，夹不进倒是慢呢，是吧？倒是靠不起个慢着，但你他就前面是的。
The question must have been with respect to a view of emptiness. Can non-Buddhists also have built up the view of emptiness within them? So His Holiness response, as far as emptiness is concerned, basically, as far non-Buddhists, Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike can also have some kind of vague understanding of the concept of emptiness. As I told you before, as stated in the text, that those who are in 400 verses, those who find the difficult points of Buddha's teaching, for them the practice is to think on the view of emptiness, and this will somehow bring a settlement with respect to the other teachings that are quite obscure. So that means emptiness is a common mode of knowledge. So, and also, as far as the content physicians are concerned, they have somehow understood the absence of any external intrinsic object or objective existence. So these all comes from the association with the concept.
能够承担起东北你广巴山的吃了的，西周年我了，这个的，看到长寿个是个夹紧也应该给对你的维系，西周个嘛的，西周年不写出来要嘛的。
So the kind of physicians, somehow, although they may not necessarily be Buddhists, they have understood the absence of any externally existent object. So these all come from their own way of reasoning and constant thinking. Now, however, in order to understand, not just understand emptiness intellectually, but through inferential to gain inferential understanding of emptiness, you have to constantly habituate with the concept and then practice the concept in order to gain conviction. And to reach that kind of conviction, you must need enough merit, for which you have to associate yourself with the practice of Buddhism. So there is a tradition among the Chinese Buddhists, or in Chinese Buddhism, people often pray to be born in Purim in your next lives. So should we do this, or should we concentrate more on study and practice? So His Holiness says, of course, there is nothing wrong in praying to be born in Purim, but you also need to amass enough merit, the proper causes and conditions. You need to generate the proper causes and conditions to be born in Purim.
any page, love the surety. Shout the shiny, sorry. Then you to
Lujan. Nagabudi.
other a dizzy. Then you ultimately mean check him. Other because I'm going to be that was given because I'm sure I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure it's been on here soon. Any there was just solo, you were changing some of the Nady come from the Zambuli Ludin Lia, any Ludin Tower shows and Melon Jungiores Yada. That dear, not limited to Yari. Zambulimba Nady come from this.
In one of the tantric texts, it says that even bodhisattvas pray to be born in our earthly realm, our world, in our human world. So that is associated with the practice of tantra, because our human body is really the best vessel to practice tantra.
No, yeah. Any last question.
What else?
最后一个问题。
We are thinking of starting the a tradition of engaging in extensive classical study of the classical text. So, what do you propose, Your Holiness? What do you advise us?
그래서 자나 들께서 랍도 치모들이 기겐들이 도나치기도 와. 서다 찬즈도 저 안데 변화 자시로 서로고 배지 우문 주고 장제도 저 대인을 열어. 자다 들제디 냐리 대인을 열어 거라. 찬소 로송체. 야 즉 대인을 열대에 측하셔 고마대로 여기나 비위 둘째. 드스 로송식이 있나? Any good very Yanji Tauchu Chewa, the Tauchu Shingle, Tauchu Chewa, Yanko Yoga, Gogali, Yonchogro, machine.
So, His Holiness response. In 1959, when I was in China, probably I learned some Chinese, and I am sure I know more than 1,000 Chinese words. But I have no idea about the vocabulary with respect to the Buddhist terms, Buddhist terms in Chinese. So I would say it's good if you were able to engage with the professors at the universities in China. There is a growing interest in Buddhism among them. And then also you have many translations already there in your Chinese tradition. For example, the Fundamental Wisdom and the auto commentary of Engaging in the Middle Way. These are all already there in Chinese. So try to study them, and should you somehow come across some terms which are difficult to explain, then try to compare them with the Tibetan translations. And somehow, when it comes to editing, then we can also help you in this regard. In the past, when the Tibetan king Tizon sought advice, Shantarakshita advised him, then since you have the Tibetan script and language, in its complete form. It's good for you to translate the text and then study Buddhism through your own language rather than relying on Sanskrit. Likewise, since you have your own Chinese language, it's proper. It's better if you study Buddhism through your own Chinese language rather than relying on the Tibetan. So I would advise you that if you really want to study Chinese, study Buddhism, the best language for you as being Chinese is Chinese and not Tibetan. So you do not need to study Tibetan in order to study Buddhism.
당도 우미고를 찾아나 색색 제일 돔도
法师罗尼东중일을 교사 지디 하나 천일을 보고 하나 구루니마생 로열대 빠르게
wants to know if the clear words by Chandrakriti have been translated into Chinese. The translator responded that there are two versions of the translation. So all the 6 texts of Nagarjuna are translated into Chinese. The 70 sentences is there. 60 reasoning is there.
부터버리다
Buddha is being translated right now.
아니 오모주고 예베체 주보랑지 예베체
So Madhyamika is there. Its auto commentary is also there. 400 verses. His holiness are same, and his response is also there.
10개 잡아 나와서 잡아대
어디요?
But the commentary
계속 실수가
400 verses by
계속
Chandrakriti is not there. So these texts are very important. You should think of translating them.
刚刚尊者
这别是계속 실수가 이나 매듭을 주더니 결국에
So those texts which are not available in Chinese translation, you should try to translate them into Chinese. And the translation that are already available in Chinese, you should study them. Anyway. Hi,
벌거완도 히말라야 리규 나고즈 콘조 초중시셔 아티나 레그신다 구루지 때도 왔다 체니 콘조 있네 히말라야 리규를 여대베 고바티도 참을로 롬니카 롬중 그 띠네시 소야게 그것도 스미기도와 셋이도와 그 생각하면 그것도 도리 나의 낙지 사실 빼야 오래스 전에 들은 인도 다 그런저 지금 로좀 해야 돼 계시물이 아니 미게 그 소수도 때에 야고를라 찬스 지금 공상으로도 되다 되게 뒤주 그들이야 찬스 지금 쳐줘 가셔가셔 루루체 아니 돌린체 그도체 지금 있는 편도 사용 거다.
So last year I met a group of people who have formed some kind of Himalayan Buddhist association. So one of their main agendas is to, or one of their visions is to ensure that the monasteries in those Himalayan regions become learning institutes, not just traditional monasteries. And I really appreciated them. I highly praised them at that time when we met. So likewise, I also request you to study Buddhism thoroughly individually or as groups. So individually, you also have to make your efforts. But when you have free time on your vacations and holidays, you should gather together as groups and then engage in discussions on whatever you have learned. So if this, in this way, if you could carry on with your study, that would be really ideal. So the Himalayan Buddhist Association was being Guru Rinpoche Amet, who is also here, was also a member of that association, which now has some good vision.
시바kim 샤모체 토스토스모도 네마 들간다 탱데 오문주비 시로 차상시 차르충나 상마 찬수 자서 이제한지 제 오문주비 시로 차상시 통주리 오문주비 시로 네 윤지도상 kenji도상 그들에 게 쉬우리 우문주부 원도제 아니 공부하세 동두셔모 드즈체디 유즈비르는 쉬우리 유즈비 센스티 미냐르 우체스니 공부를 네 샤나바라지 콩국군네 몽구샤 유즈비 셈버리 유클리아 시 공부 이부드체디 어디 그네야 미냐르 우체군네 셈버리 자상가
And so we are here mainly for the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara, entering the middle way by Master H.H.THE. And so because we have here one Bhutanese Rinpoche, I would like to begin the teaching from the beginning of the text, as he was absent last year. And so I hope to complete the teaching on this text, and this time just giving you the explanatory transmission of the Madhyamaka Avatara. And so I received the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara and its auto-commentary from my Bhikshu ordination precept master, and also I received teachings on Tsongkhapa's commentary on the illumination or the elucidation of the thoughts, and also Kedubji's the 1,000 doses, and he received it from Minyang Rinpoche.
다 전투주선이 시부직 불타고 그래도가 다 뭐든 동의를 받디 아니 오문주가 가다가 자시로 조체 다 자시로기 레베나네 그 공도시번에 저 뭔가 예배 나라 다 아니 남주 용자 다 이 오문주가디 시라가 뭔가 매버체 딘두 쳐부시다 개셔부시 and 우먼주고 주고랑 지죠. 자상가 근데 우먼주고디 자주 시동 차상 타야시 세상에 우먼저 좀 찬수. 자가도
So with regards to the teaching of the Buddha, the perfection of wisdom teachings, and it has its what is known as the hidden or implicit content and explicit content. The implicit content of the progression along the path is commented by that of Master Maitreya's Ornament of Clear Realization, which is a very important text to study for understanding the perfection of wisdom teachings of the Buddha. And also regarding the explicit content, we have Master Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamaka Karika, and with regard to the commentaries on Mula Madhyamaka Karika, the most prevalent or well-known commentary, which is not too long, neither too long nor too short, is Master Chandrakirti's Madhyamaka Avatara, and he also has written the auto-commentary to it. And I am thinking of, I hope to complete the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara. So the title of the text is Sanskrit and Tibetan written, and then the salutation of the translator to Manjushri. And then
닝지선다 니수면로 진주선데 전주선배다 규디 닝지선 아니 니수면로 로스다 그래서 오늘 전에다 동나가 동의도 불렀지 전주선배디 다 민노 잡에 가두기 다 샘질 송거야리 다 제대로니 대전쇼 송거 그래니 전주서 총알이 다데 컨시스턴이 개별로도 편선이 사변단에 별로 전혀 유연도 롱전을 멤버도 원데 디지털에 통만 인지 때부터 있으니 아니 반은 나와자베 아니 지시셔보다 어딘들 아니 지금이 속속이야 장적 유송거야리 다데 아니 통만 인지를 때가 있어 다 좀전 디송샤 자원이 전부디 아니 통도 봐서도 개척을 했어. 근데 인도 닝질이 아니 또 찾아봐. 근데 좀 전에 송을. 단 닝질이 아니 당고 마시다. 선질 미비 닝지, 처럼 그 닝지. 미미로 닝지 선소도 당고 마시다가 다긴 디신 거라. 수지다로 저런 이제 교가 달란데 저요. 추연한 건 나와도 여당 전. 근데 전시 니 동부 통화에 계속 동부 통화에 계속 근데 상관 좋아는 나버지고 셔 니지 원주 꾸르서 매정 가와를 run나 되는 나고 셔셔고 나 테네스인데 테네 서버 교회 제주섬 시즌 이진도 되는데 베시섬 와서 또 님으로도 도되게 사상을 이시줄게 근데 지시원은 제주섬 개원은 되는 것도 좋아서 통보 군수섬 뭐 탐색 방법이 전주 선버전에 가요 저도 교신 이제 감정 권의 요원 네번이 네번 주방인 산에서는 고모로도 좋아 대진디 인간으로 나타나 가고요 대진디 소소지에서 나타나서 된데 파고제가 시도되던 영화대 저것이 너도 몰랐냐 통화 손지 당시라서 저는 손만다고 원게 봐줘 나버펠 사탕부 어디기 로도 있으기는 도 말이스 직기고는 야나 쓰기는 비어리스 오늘 두 남짓에니 로이도 기자인 세계로 연구를 했나 전에 정도 송 서터베 그도리야 이니 로양 사관도 단데는 도저나니 내니 냐람 파베다 돈이 무슨 또 예매사 주제티 중진나네 50송도가 계속 살아라 주제 전에 정도 송 로양 사관도 우모정 송은 미셔야 돼 제주대로 조선 저유 당부 지문이를 하고 요라서 땅 그거 저 나도 보고 교연요 교원들고 대왕원도 좀 매는 대왕 노조전에 진행 중인 특별 정부 심배 담제도 닝심의 신수수라도 로렌이도 요마가 되다 그냥 대별 노조는 도면이 시주주 진행중 디안 집에거기 남지서 하고 있고 당제 유도도 그 집어당에 내가 다지 선거 상부탄의 집어당에 이루고 선거 배용으로 봐 다양하게 균노로주 연구를 하면서 집어당하이나 된지리 되는 시기였다. 저희들 되게 유신 10월 좋아요. 놀라편만 좀 이제는 집에 죽으면서 가와서 kanshi tsada tsada mayin bati chi jimbe dangyo zoyi, chidari chinchi cheta tuyasone. Gyasa dhisho, teta tono no shiwar shiwar, dewa chemena tamche chemena, tamche tana, tashi meshi luje deshi dagi dunga yi shinanu ji nyawa la suwa, dunga rana yi to tone di deshi chi hindu sundu zong. Da mingmi lunga jimba shinshi lembu tongbu zong, jidan deba pari shinshi. Subu tala chage kyuwa di jidan baya pari shinshi, teta jewe shinshi lo rana shi. 담배달라 왜잖아요. 얘기가 가와는 너무 주시는 모두 못하잖아. 뭐 세네지 어머니 저걸 심지어 당보. 지주 표정인데 단지 메로디 시대처럼 영화에 기가 다니고 담배랑 좀 써봤지. 개월람들 다시 주자요. 저러다 신도 따와요. 대관에서 따로 나오는데 시유 샤버도 기는 가지전에 춤다른 신다 지지는 수로 나와요. 지지 되는 나도 숨자랑 일이 교와 양다. 차원요 집에 로주 다니는 중에나 겨우주로 까마냐는 기심을 세면 진짜로 로주 좀 가져라고 저 튀어나봐 그래도 점을 미치나 다 오늘 십집에 나라 냠내샤 dom경인도 전에 손남에 뭐 당불도 바도 다는도 벌지 탐을 다시 꾼도 뭐 디시전에 개발 인사 너무 하고 싶은도 와 내가 모두 주야 주소 주고를 지는 모두 타봤지 세상 모두 타베 애니 주 아니 미기주 대가라던 모두 야고지 타베야 아니 장매동아 아니 로수 미치바 로수 단 세다 로수 미치바 네 차와 미치바 다 소주바다 마질련의 로임들 이게 차와디 이게 미주나 친서제 다한테 지금 밀고 가다 서로 지금 밀려 유지하고 서로 되게 다 차와 미치야 근데 최셔봐 되네 그게 좀봐 되네 나 잡아 공부했어 다 뒤디 모두 쭉 살지 뭐지 저나 송도가 왜 계속 버리셔 당만도 토야 그 교수 차상한 조사를 쉬고 바로 다는도 버리지 싹 당만도 류쟁기 싫어도 남지기 싫어 되기도 안에 동리권니 그다음에 다도 집어도 놔야 다한테 다도 집어도야 그 동리권이야 돼 손에 서 자체도 차도 잡으시는 윤주자네 아니 시주기니 몰라 계속시 용기야리 돈이 다 거봐 영수 소에 주기 겁내 윤도 타만 다시 꾼도 봐스 대대보다 람람라겐티 아니 뭐네 캐바레 세송샤 아로 레벨고 공에 딘다고 디저 지버리 사진도 와 자다디 오마 쉽게봐 지금도 좋아해 나들이 지지게 지면 들가서 강제랑 저기 퇴내와 진짜 정말 매치는 양서는 상황을 들으시는 건 거로 지지게 지면 담자는 수림 지도당에서 우리가 수림 나는 저기 소소 깨우는 거 숨기더라도 예산을 경계하려고 모두는 수림 내셔면 진짜 저도 뜻이 나나마다 텐시 들어 수림 관계 되니시 대셔부터 텐시 내면 돼 강시강가 강로 봉셔와 수도 미보여는 수림 지전발에 발을 시시시 소로 차고에 동네 지된데 계산 나오는 저 시민 시민이 배송 주문 단지 주문 맨데요. 당근 뒤엔다는 시신을 왜 이게 너무 먼저 숨기고 이보고 시제비시 말을 세고면 의주신 산에 숨번데 왜저번데 디지털로 돼서 니도 상대 나와서 개들내면 주고 가이테 류제 샤니 류제 유는 상례는 제가 요즘에 서버처럼 하버게 서벨로 야호 대체 당연하는 저 참스사디 대산제에 참스 참도와 당연히 참스 못맞디 다른 미 참스기 두고도나 와다디 지상 패배 다른 미니 시장이야 쳐져라 아니 다른 미니 참스기도나 다들 참스 로장배다 참스 어다베 가다 전주성 중에 참스다 뒤쳐야 돼 뒤켜서도 와 어제네 대리 개진님이 주번가이 대 류제산이 류제 유는 상례는 저거 하고 다음에 저는 신주 사고를 가지고 가고 가지 쉬면 소년을 통한테 되어서 내가 지금 개들 될 거나 달라고 지신다고 지 벤치 누가 좀 못하다 내가 지금 개들 될 거나 such as
giving up alcohol, to deceiving others, and so forth, and then also honoring our ones and giving respect, giving love. And then in the grasping at truth, and then finally engaged a very powerful marriage or also
조상계기 전주 칠명경 수명을 되는 지대보 미국은 뒤 상계기 이전에 벌치때 상대께서 상대면시도 리저스도 뭐 세번 대적다도 지대보 대양
such a
다도
person
지된
is a
바이니
wise one.
대변지사 좀 먼저 지수수도 배우지 대화식을 힘만 올라가 선을 지수수야 선수유니 꾸이교 개에서 보니만은 외신 정도는 한번이다 세션도 너무 좀 뭔가인데 산지 신도 나오니까 처음에 우모는 저거를 심기가 수모 연대모 주주들도 선을 소위 주주 강도 봐 이거 산지 시바 왜니 좋아하고 전에 디시 셀러 저거 전주 처럼 고말 내기에 나와 산지가 저도 다와한테 여기서 우모는 저거 숨기고 15 다니시도 되는 거 장가서 나빠면 삼자라서 신문 또나 신도 개발도 우모는 저거 숨기고 나봐고 너도 저거냐 사람들 저버스 내셔는 진주니 실은 내면 고버터버 유스 지들로는 저거 달라도 민딩기 우치 내가 유도 치고 대신 드냥을 민념 연달랑데 개인으로 지들대 지소셔도 보는 것이 지금 이면도 호를 지단 내별 루시 잡았자 나 소수기에 주는 동반이 되는 나도도 가와야도 야도도 가와를 주시면 밀리시 루기 보고 당을 주고 가요 달아서 선열로에 사회 대인이와 때문에 대인데 달아 담배도 이제 담버쳐 달아대 제순도 연대중 따도 수준이야 나는 내가 지금 동안 주신 이제 담버쳐 서버군제 대게 저도 로저와 설명을 뭐지 저것이 서버는 그 서지지 설렇게 기회는 좀저도 가면서 통주에
Devoted to the perfect bodhisattva's skilled
He will
gradually attain the meaning of extremely joyful. Therefore, those aspiring should hear of this path. And then verse number 8 down is a commentary on the Madhyamaka Karika's first verse, where it says, there's no birth from self, nor from other, and so forth. So, verse number 8 reads, not created by itself, how can it be created by another? But created by both, what exists without a cause. There is no purpose in something already arisen and rising again. What is already arisen cannot arise again. If you truly believe something already created could create, production such as germination could not occur in ordinary experience, or a seed could be recreated until the end of existence. What sprout would ever cause it to cease? So these are verses refuting production from self, which is asserted by the Sankhya school. So the chromosome or DNA, there is the footprint of each and every hair on our body and the different parts and so forth. And so each person's chromosomes are different, the structure of chromosome are different, and or DNA. Chromosome. So when you see these chromosomes having the footprint of our different organs and hairs and so forth on our body, it would look like what the Sankhya school are saying to be true, because they say the footprint is already there, therefore we have the different the features and so forth. So a sprout different from its instigating seed with a distinct form, color, flavor, potency, and ripening could then not exist if the selfish substance of previous vanishes. The previous vanishes as it assumes another nature, what remains of its suchness. So it's almost commenting on verse number 9 of the 6th chapter earlier. If in an ordinary experience seed is not different from sprout. You could have perception of neither seed nor sprout, and if they were the same, when seeing the sprout, you should also see the seed. Thus, your thesis is unacceptable, because the result is seen upon the disappearance of the cause. To say they are the same is not accepted even in ordinary experiences. So verse number 14, down rejects that of production from another. So there's something to be created based on something other than itself. You could have deep darkness arising from a flame, another could arise. Anything could arise from anything, and anything that is not the creating agent would be equally other. And objection, verse number 15, perfectly capable of being created by other, it is certainly called the effect, capable of creating, although other, it is indeed the cause, containing within the same continuum and created by its creator. It is not as if rice could sprout from barley. Verse number 16, reply. Barley, lotus, and kimchuka flour, and so forth, are neither regarded as creators of rice, sprout, nor as having that potential, nor being the same continuum, nor as being similar in that same fourfold manner. A rice seed too is other. Since the sprout and the seed do not exist simultaneously, there cannot be otherness. So how can the seed be other? Thus, as creation of sprout from the seed is not established, rejecting this premise of production from other. Reject this premise, and like the arms of a pair of scales, rising and descending simultaneously. Creation arises as the creator ceases if simultaneous, but that this is not the case. When arising, still the process of production, still in the process of production, it is non-existent. When ceasing, although in the process of disintegration, it still exists. How does this compare to the movement of a pair of scales? And when no agent of creation, this makes no sense at all. I consciousness existing simultaneously with its creator, I, and so forth. So from verse number 23 shows the two truths, the conventional and the ultimate truth. It reads, all entities can be seen truly as or deceptively. So whatever there is has two natures. The domain of perfect seeing is suchness. False seeing has been termed all-concealing truth by the Buddha. Verse number 31, verse 32. An ordinary person who merely has sown his seed will exclaim, I created this child. People also think, I planted this tree. Hence, even in ordinary experience, is there no creation from other. And verse number 34 down rejects that of the inherent characteristics of things. If inherent characteristics were the basis of phenomena, phenomena would be destroyed through refutation of their inherent existence, and emptiness would become the cause of these entities' destruction, as this is absurd. Entities do not inherently exist. So verse number 36 says, with the analysis of such as neither creation from self nor from another possible is possible. And so here there is a quotation, quoted from the Ratnakuta Sutra, where it says that when we say things are empty, it's not like a temple being empty of monks or monastics. Empty things are like such as reflections, namely composites, are generally accepted. Likewise, from something empty, such as a reflection, consciousness of its characteristics may be created. So things have no inherent existence. They are therefore dependently originated. And we say that the cause is related or dependent on its cause, because we talk about the cause, the thing being a cause of something which is yet to arise, and therefore in relation to that which will arise later, it is a cause, and therefore nothing whatever has any independent existence. Everything is relative. And therefore, between the valid perception or valid cognition and its object, we do not need to establish the valid cognition with another, because of another reason, but because of the object itself, we have a valid cognition, and therefore the valid cognition and the object of the valid cognition are mutually dependent. So, verse number 43 says, existence of all grounds, or the alaya vijnana, an existing individual, merely the skandhas exist. Such instructions address those for whom the profound teachings are incomprehensible, and so the Buddha, out of his compassion, gave such teachings to such beings. So when Master Nagarjuna wrote his Madhyamaka Karika, there was no thorough explanation of the or detailed explanation of the Chittamatra view or philosophical view, but it developed later. So although free from the view of Tantric recollection, the Buddha still would say, I and my teaching likewise, while things have no inherent nature. In the context of expedient truth, he spoke of the relative existence. And then the objection, without objects and no subject to be seen, the threefold world is fully realized as consciousness alone. Thus the Bodhisattva dwells in wisdom, realizing mere consciousness as such. And so these are refutations of the Chittamatra view. As wind agitates the sea, stirring up waves on the water surface, from the seed of all, so-called all ground, or alaya, mere consciousness arises through its own potential. So since the Chittamatras say that nothing externally exists, but everything is in the nature or essentially there of the mind, Therefore, essence of dependent nature becomes the cause of imputed existence of phenomena manifesting with nothing to grasp externally, inherently existing. It is not the domain of elaborations about existence. And then the reply to this is, if there is an example of an intrinsic mind without an object, you say as in a dream. But when I look at my mind when it is dreaming, it has no intrinsic existence. Hence, you have no valid example. If there is a memory of the dream when awakening, and that mind exists, then the external objects of a dream should exist in the same way, because remembering the dream, you may think I saw in the same way. The external world of the dream should also exist when awake. An objection: while sleeping, there is no I consciousness. In the absence of external objects, there is only mind consciousness, whose manifestation are grasped at external. As in the dream, so it is when awake. Reply: however, just as an external phenomena in your dreams are unborn, likewise mind too is unborn. The I, its objects, the mind they create, all three are false. These three are also false in regard to hearing and so forth. As in dreams, so also in this waking state, the phenomena are false. There is no mind, no objects, and no sense faculties. In ordinary experience, just as while awake, when sleeping, these above three seems to exist. Once awake, they do not. Awakening from the sleep of ignorance is similar. Objection: the consciousness of someone with diseased eyesight and the floating hairs that appear due to that disease do exist as non-external phenomena. And reply: these both are true for that mind, but for the clear seeing, both are false. In a dream, the perceived forms are not external. They arise from the maturation of their own potential within the perceiving mind. Likewise, when we awaken, there exists a non-external external phenomena. And reply: verse number 65, as in a dream state, without the organ of eye, the mental cognition of colors does occur. Accordingly, in the absence of eye senses, the actual seed of consciousness is maturing. Why should visual perception not occur to the blind? And verse number 66 says, if the potential for the sixth consciousness matures in the dream and disappears upon awakening, if this potential of the sixth consciousness does not exist when the blind person awakes, why should it exist when he is dreaming? And 67, thus the absence of I is not the cause. For dreams, sleep is not the cause. You must concede that even in dreams, things perceived and the perceiving I are causes for the conception of a false subject, as the Chittamatrans answers and statements seem to be mere propositions. This dispute is settled. The Buddha has never taught that anything inherently exists. A yogin meditating on the instructions of his teacher sees the earth as covered in bones. Still, in the three he sees are uncreated. The three he sees are uncreated, and this is thought to be false of conceptualization. Just as whatever mental objects you may have, such as meditation on ugly, so verse number 80, says conventional truth is means, absolute is truth in the aim. So Master Nagarjuna also says, without relying on the conventional terms, one cannot realize the ultimate truth. Whoever is unaware of this distinction will enter in inferior paths because of wrong conceptions. Next verse, this dependent nature which you assert as real, we do not accept even as an all-concealing truth. On the other hand, for the sake of the ultimate fruit, we have stated that non-existent exists, merely to conform to the ordinary experience. If just as for the arhats who have abandoned their aggregates and dwell in peace, their aggregates would not exist in ordinary experience, I also would not claim they exist in ordinary experience. If you think you do not contradict ordinary experience, then try refuting ordinary people. You should debate with those perceiving ordinary experience, and I will rely on whoever is the stronger. The courageous mind advancing towards realization realizes the three worlds as mere consciousness. This refutes a permanent self as a creator, and he realizes the creator is mind only. In order to increase the faculties of the intelligent, and to cut through misconceptions, the omniscient one in the Lanka-Avatara Sutta vanquished the towering mountain-like view of the Tirthikas with his Vajra speech. In their treatises, the Tirthikas propound a person and so forth as a creator. Not having seen such a creator, the victorious one spoke of the creator of the world as being mind only. Just as awakened to suchness refers to awakened one, when in some sutras the Buddha spoke of mind only. When speaking to the world about mind's importance, the point of these sutras was not to deny form. The sutras, verse number 94, says the sutras teaches external appearances non-existent and so forth, and 95 says the teacher taught this this is expedient meaning. And so even in the sutras it is said that certain teachings cannot be taught, accepted as being definitive teachings, because they were taught due to certain reasons and purpose for some followers of the Buddha. And so it says, which is also proven logically, like in the Lanka-Avatara Sutta, other sutras too, such as the Sutra Unraveling the Thought, elucidates the expedient meaning. The Buddhas taught that with non-existence of object, elimination of knower is easily achieved. Without object, the perceiver is disproven, and therefore objects were first refuted. To know the categories of scriptures understand that sutras expanding other than the meaning of suchness teach expedient truth. These are to be interpreted, while those explaining emptiness teach certain truth. Creation from both self and other is also not reasonable. As the defects already explained would arise. Such creation accords with neither ordinary experience nor suchness, as creation from neither self nor other could be proven. If creation had no cause whatever, everything could arise from anything. To have a harvest, there would be no need, as usual, for the hundreds of things such as gathering the seeds. So if things were to have any existence from their own side, then we would have to face we would not have to face the challenges of whether things arise from self, other, both, and or without any cause. But when you actually do assert such thing and you are put under the test of reasoning, I mean, it's not easy to hold on to that position. And so, as it said in this text, that things do not have any objective or independent existence, but apart from that, things exist by way of worldly convention. So when we say things are merely in name, it does not mean that the thing itself, which is named, does not exist. So conventional existence is established by three criteria. One is that it is renowned in the world and that it is not undermined by another worldly convention, and that it is also not undermined by the ultimate analysis into the nature of things as well. And so these are the three criteria for establishing things to exist conventionally. So if sentient beings were void of any cause, then as the color and scent of sky Utpala, they could not be perceived. Yet, as ordinary experience is perceived vividly, know that just like mind, the ordinary experience arises from causes. These elements you conceive as a primary nature, yet they possess no such nature. How could someone with such thick mental obscuration ever properly know what is beyond this life, and so forth? So verse number 109. If you can see that a dream, a Gandharva city, a mirage, a hallucination, a reflection, and so forth are truly uncreated and as if non-existent, why do you insist phenomena consequently could not be seen? If in suchness these similes are uncreated, why in ordinary experience are they not a child of a barren woman, something unseen? Therefore, this objection is not definitive. The intrinsic creation of a barren woman's child exists neither in suchness nor in ordinary experience. Such is the nature of all entities. Neither in suchness nor ordinary experience are they created. For this reason, the teacher said, all phenomena are primordially peaceful, uncreated, and naturally beyond suffering. For this reason, there is never any creation. So at the end of the differentiating the definitive and provisional teachings, Master Tsongkhapa says there are two ways things could exist, either from their own existence, from their own side, or from the independence on others. And since the first cannot be tenable, therefore there is no other choice but to say that things exist by way of dependence. And therefore, in his commentary on the Mathematical Karika, Master Tsongkhapa says, after having said this same phrase and statements, say that one should forcefully direct your mind towards one's mind towards that.
줄을 치듯했던 틀류 줄을 치듯 틀류 때문에 대니도 치듯 때문에 모션부터 강진 되게 통하는 유도 미교 많이 뭐 대시도 많은 방법 모션부터라는 게 여전히 되게 이게 지심은 그 노니 지진
112. Verse number 113, while vases and the like do not exist in suchness, look how they exist so commonly in ordinary experience. Likewise, it does not follow that all things are like a child of a barren woman, because neither uncaused nor caused by God, caused by itself, another, or both, there exists no phenomena that is inherently produced, and therefore phenomena are fully created in dependence. And so, as I explained yesterday, things that come from their causes do not come through some kind of a will of a God or without any cause, nor from any other incompatible cause, but they do arise from compatible causes. Verse number 115. Because things are completely interdependent, these extreme beliefs remain powerless, and for this reason the reasoning of interdependent origination is what cuts through the variety of inferior views. 116. Conceptions occur if things have an existence, yet how things have no existence has already been decided. Being non-existent, these extreme beliefs will not occur, as for example, without fire you will have no firewood, you will have no fire. So with regard to it is something that actually interests people with interest, intelligence. So from Bashika up to Madhyamakas, and within the Madhyamakas there are those who assert some objective existence in things. But what we need to do is think through closely and analyze these positions well. We should not just be attached to or look at one things one-sidedly, but we need to have a holistic or a broader perspective of the different positions. And so, if you are able to do that, then you would have a very broad, thinking, and your understanding and wisdom would also be quite broad and vast. Zero. Did it? Ordinary beings are fettered by thought. Did it? Cling to one's own view. Zero. His Holiness read through to 119, verse 119, sorry. And 117 says, ordinary beings are fettered by thoughts, yogis are freed through non-thought. Therefore, to recognize that thoughts are erroneous is the outcome of analysis. So the wise have said, Analysis in the treatises does not come from fascination with polemics. Suchness is shown for the sake of attaining liberation. If suchness is fully explained and the views of opposing scriptures will come apart, this is not our fault. That was very strange. Yeah, 19.
就如同400论里面所说的，先遮遣非福，中因遣出我，后遮一切见，如此为智者。也就是首先我们先要学习真上身，先要去承办真上身，才有办法后世世的生生世世的来去累积。
So verse number 118, another reading is, the analysis in the treatises is not conducted out of fondness for arguments. It reveals suchness and is done so for the sake of freedom. If in the course of explaining true reality, however, other philosophical systems are undermined, there is no fault. And verse number 19 says, attachment to one's own views and likewise aversion for others' views is itself rarefied thinking. Therefore, by utterly dispelling attachment and anger and engaging in analysis, one swiftly achieves freedom. So he stops there. And then next comes the presentation of selflessness of persons, the need to negate intrinsic existence of persons. So there will be a review session at 1:30 in the temple, in Kalachakra temple, the other temple here, at 1:30 by somebody from the Namgyal monastery. And then at 4 o'clock, Gishi Thupten Pasangla will be doing a review session at the Institute of Buddhist Hierarchies Prayer Hall. So please be informed about these two review sessions at 1:30 in the Kalachakra Hall, and at 4 o'clock, another one at the IBD Prayer Hall.
第34句，第6点的第34句呢，在此破除了名言上有自相之理，这是很重要的一点。所以呢，这个34句的时候呢，就说到了因成圣者定面事物之过患的因成，所以有说3因成或4因成。第一个因成叫做因成，就是反驳时候，按照你的装法来讲的话，会有这种某某的因成过失，是一种反驳或者找出对方矛盾的一种说法。所以呢，在3因成或者4因成里面的第一个因成圣者定面事物之过患的因成呢是34句。那第35句说到了因成世俗句为理智所坑忍之过患。那在第36句的时候呢，说到了因成无有圣意他生之过患。那如果可以的话，可以再加第4个因成，就是因成无自性为自空之过患。其实仔细看《般若经》的时候呢，《般若经》里面说的色皆自性空，是说色本身并非是由色的自力而有，所以色是色的空嘛，而不是说大造色里面没有生人的他空。所以在讲解空性的时候，都讲自空的。根据这一个法而去说空性，而不是说这一法不是他法而说的空性。所以在此又说到了3解脱门等。那接下来，又说到了因为无有自性的缘故，所以才能够依赖他者。因为依赖着他者的缘故，才有办法安立因和果。通常下部论师只说果从因生，但是因为无自性的关系，互相完全依赖和关带的关系，因也因为果而成为因。即便因时无果，可是因之所以成为因，因为将来会生果，所以依赖着关带着将来要生的果而去说到了因的。所以因为无有自性互相关带的缘故，一切的作用和性质都能够在名言当中坦然安立，并不用像下部论师所说的色之所以存在，是因为直色之势是正量。直色之势正量之所以正量，是因为它有自正分，不需要这样讲。一个后面必须要一个根据，一个后面必须要一个根据，这种说法是不需要的。境依赖着事，事依赖着互相关带而有，就像果依赖着因，因依赖着果，互相关带而有。这种的说法并能成其。第39句这边说到了以灭也是有为法等。第45句在此破除了唯识派的说法。其实龙树不知道在写《中观根本会论》的时候，那时候并没有很明显的唯识派的中见，是龙树不知道之后由吴卓兄弟将这个唯识派的中见发扬光大，非常的明显的跳脱出来，也就说到无外境，那一切的心智都是第十而有。那第51句的时候就说到了唯识派很艰难的立了这一种心事为第十有的这个立宗，可是呢，仔细的去寻找的话，如同外无自性般，内也应该无有自性。那第63句的时候，再次又说到了唯识派的中见。那第73句的时候说到了后来的回忆，也就是说，唯识派我们可以透过后来的回忆、事后的回忆来去知道说，当时我看到色法的缘故，能够同时意念直色之事，所以直色之事不需要自证，因为透过回忆色法的意念，后来的这个意念也能够同时意念当时候我看到色法的直色之事，所以不需要自证的内容。第80句的时候说到了无有自性，因此是元气。第86句的时候说到了三界为心造。第92句的时候说到了色和律法是个别的。虽然个别的宣说色和律法等，但是如同外法无有自性般，内法也无有自性。第95句寄颂文里面的第3句和第4句呢，说到了如是形象诸于今，此叫义显不了义。这句话很重要，从这句话我们可以知道，月圣菩萨、龙树父子等这些大教师，针对佛亲自所说的经典来去分类，有一些的经典是可以无言可取的，按照词面上的内容来去安立立宗，但是有一些经典是不能无言可取的，所以而去说到了了义和不了义两者的经典。那第97句以上在此说到了破四圣的道理，第99句说优正破除了无因而生的道理。第104句的时候说到了，如果是从精神而有、自性而有的话，那就必须得说自生，或者说他生，或者说自他两者而生，或者是无因而生，除此外没有其他的方法。但是再怎么去寻找，因为找不到的关系，所以就会产生矛盾了。 所以之后在路中论的最后一段，我们也可以看到路中论说了这句话：如观察车七相无，由于世间共须有。观察的时候找不到的，一切的作用和性质，可以在明示施设当中而存在的。这也是般若经的究竟意趣啊。在抽象中，一切的作用才能够坦然安立；在明示施设当中，一切的作用才能够坦然安立。所以，唯明示施设有个“唯”字，并不是代表说世所执取的内容不在，不是这个意思，而是代表说镜上而有的这一种自信，在此被“唯”字所破除。那，所以要破除的是共相有法与就是说实话的论是说的共相有法呢，是在此要破除的内容。这种的说法是令人称奇的。所以呢，在中观师来讲的话，就是名言上否定有自相的中观师，他们认为什么叫做有，什么叫没有，是根据三个条件来说的。哪三个条件呢？世间共取，不被名言事给损害，不被善意事给损害，来去决定有和没有。所以有和没有的力量不是取决在境上，而是来自于有没有符合这三个条件。因此，正量不需要是出知，不需要一开始了解，你只要对于自己的所执取的主要的境无有无赖的话，就可以安立为正量。因为无有自性的缘故，所以呢，在名言上否定自相的中观师的许多的论述，跟量学的大师们所说的产生了不同。113句，去寻找假意之后找不到，这些都名言施设当中可以承办。所以中大师又说到了，有的方式就两种，一个就自性有，一个就唯名施设。那以比较俗语来讲的话，一个叫实体有，一个叫抽象有。有的方式就是两种，除此外面其他有的方式。如果是自性有的话，寻找之后应该找到才对，可是找不到，会被你破除。所以我们只能无奈的选择后者。而且在正理海的后面又说到了，对于后者的选择，弟子们即便是无奈，也要往这方向去想。所以一开始我们可能很难接受，但是时间久了，慢慢的，你就会体会到说，为什么在抽象当中，一切的作用和性质都能够被坦然安立的道理。那第114句的时候说到了不动缘、无常缘、能力缘等，这一些都在因缘施设观待当中而有仅此而已。于是念到119句，今天就到这里为止。那如同之前所说的，空正见的这个思维是非常重要的，而且这是佛教的智慧的精华之所在。真的，如果你是智者的话，你会因为空性的论述而心生欢喜。那我们要好好的去学习，真的很难，不是说很简单，的确很难。这就是什么？在佛弟子里面有毗婆沙宗、经部、唯识、中观，即便是在中观的论师里面，有一些的大论师们也没有办法接受名言上是无自相的，他们也没有办法接受。即便是如此，我们还是要好好的去思维，好好的观察，好好的去思维空性的道理。而且思维的时候，一定要从全面的角度去做思维，不要从单一的角度去做思维。因为我们在辩论的时候都说一定不一定，一定和不一定的意思呢，就是遍布一切才说一定和不一定。所以呢，我们在辩论的时候用全面的角度去辩论班。同样的，在思维空性的时候，你们一定要多元化的角度、全面的角度去观察，不用单一的角度。所以这也是为什么你们偶尔可以跟法友们聚在一起互相讨论，这是极为重要的一点。
谢谢。
下边我知道天毛当滚动上播的样子，现在给老公姐接受到逻辑。教完这段那这劳动，这是学会教完他们这个我讲了，超动我把的，大概给上这个人上过确实劳动我玩的，哎呀。
생각하면서 screen says or screen says mojo